And welcome back. Pinoy Powerhouse TNC is one win away from a berth in Sunday's semifinals as they are up 1-0 against Alliance in our final series on day one. Bringing back our four-man panel here, guys. I want to talk about adjustments for Alliance in game two, but I think it's a difficult topic. They had a good chance to win. They executed pretty well, but what do you think you change if you're them?
I think judging from the 3 games that we've seen, or 4 games, well, no, 3 games from TNC, it's hard to keep track because they just win everything.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, we know they're going to pick Jakiro. That's it.
I think the strongest style is that they're high tempo. They will take the fight to you.
Yep.
And there are a couple of strategies you could do to kind of avoid that, right? You could either go for more split pushing, which Alliance traditionally is all about that. The IO has been taken out, the Chen has been taken out, so it seems like Deben has cover on that. The other way to go about it is to go defensive. We saw IG doing that with the Tinker pick. It didn't really work out. And I think ultimately back to Alliance, it's whether they have these pocket strategy they practice or these play style they like to switch to. So I think it's one thing to say, let's make some adjustment, but it's another to say, like, do we have to pick, is this a new patch? Do we have the styles already practiced? Are they comfortable with this kind of stuff? So it's all very hard to say, but I think if I could choose something for Alliance, I feel like their split pushing game featuring the IO is going to be very strong, but they just don't get the hero.
Well,
they
that's why I think
it's
such a difficult question to answer, though, because the book on playing a high-tempo team like TNC, I think, is you just draft really solid lanes. Because it's very hard for them to establish control. And they did. They won the lanes convincingly. Like, they won mid and bottom lane going away. And still, it feels like that you make one mistake in that 19-minute Roche fight, and all of a sudden, all that early advantage is gone.
I don't know what it is with Alliance, but they do win a lot of these early games, and their mid-game always seems to just waver a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fault of the draft, or maybe they get ahead of themselves with how good the laning phase went, and we see them like take fights where they're like, we're winning, we'll take these fights, and then they overdive for stuff. They're searching around, trying to find stuff, and it's like, well, now TNC's just dodging you and farming the whole time, and you're not farming yourselves, and next thing you know, you're losing the economy game.
I mean,
so
doesn't it have to be fight selection, though? Like, that was the thing that really stood out there. We saw some questionable decisions, that, even though it was hard to tell with the draft, we saw some questionable decisions in game one, especially of their last series. But we are gonna find out here going into game two, and the bans are switched up a little bit. TNC are gonna go ahead and leave the Chen on the table for Alliance. There we go. This hero.
this guy's jacked now.
First time we're seeing him today.
Jacked now.
Were you as surprised as I was that he was actually buffed in this patch? Toward the tail end of 7.05, a number of teams were experimenting with it.
Ice Frog forgot in the previous
Yeah,
patch
oops.
he gave him the base damage, and he's just going to give him even
that's
more.
a classic Ice Frog. It's like, I buffed this hero, not enough teams are picking it,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
let me
let's
buff
buff
it
it some
more.
more.
Let's add more
And now
damage.
offlaners are just going to cry.
Yeah,
He's
that's
just there
how
like,
Tree
boom,
Protector ends up
boom.
with like 100 base damage. There you go.
It's
This is
quite
first pick
ridiculous.
Jakiro again. It was funny. We were kind of watching the Chinese Fingerworks guy go over the post game a little bit, and when we looked at some of the fights that he was going over, we see this raging inferno in the back line of some fight or on the cliff, and it's just like, wow, their other heroes are half health, like trying to even get near the fight, and so kind of like a hidden. This hero, we talked about this not being just a staple of TNC, but the hero has multiple strengths. Seems to be good right now. Versatile as a laning, or depending on where you assign him. Yeah. He's got a good body in terms of, he's actually a pretty durable hero as far as support goes. He's got pushing potential as well. Good as a counter initiator and as a follow-up to your own initiation. So it fills multiple roles right now. And then in terms of what you guys talked about, Alliance in terms of adjustments, I feel like for the most part their game plans have been pretty good. Like, they've been able to execute what they want, but sometimes you have to change gears in the middle of these games. Like this last game, how to finish that game was very different from how they got the advantage to begin with. Like in terms of the kinds of fights and laning philosophy that you needed to get to that point, get that advantage versus how to end that game, very different. So sometimes you need to take a step back and maybe different approach to finishing games.
You think it was a mistake here to leave the Jakiro on the table? I mean, again, I've said it before today, but in the early days of new patch especially, you only have so much scrim time. Don't you just have to make them try and play something else?
I am surprised by that. Them choosing to ban something like the Earth Spirit over it is a bit peculiar, when they could have just put themselves in a stronger laning phase position, have a good evasive mid laner where Earth Spirit's not going to get any roaming potential early on, just kind of falls off a bit. But, I guess to their benefit, TNC are not going to be banning the Chen, and that means that they can just round out their support staff right away.
I think with these two supports in particular, you could win your laning stage super hard, because Chen by itself already pressures the movement of Jakiro and whatever Tim's going to be playing. And whenever those heroes are not there, Rasa or Shadow Shaman will be bullying the other lane as well. So I think both Jakiro and Tim's hero is going to be really overstretched. And if Alliance could win the laning stage like they did last game, these heroes will snowball so much harder. Tower is going to be gone in a flash of seconds. So
No, that seems to be like Alliance's go-to answer. We saw them do that in Game 2 of the last series after dropping Game 1. Just draft Uber push and make the other team respond. I do think TNC, though, needs to pick up a more laning-oriented support here in their second phase as insurance against exactly what you were describing. They ran the Ogre earlier. It seemed to work out pretty well for them.
Bloodlust
oh, no,
control.
that was FY, sorry.
I mean, I wouldn't mind TNC grabbing the Ogre. That's the full forehead strat in motion, plus you get the
Forehead
Bloodlust.
I love that.
Bloodlust plus Troll. They throw in a Legion Commander, and
Ben had to
then
explain that one
Invoker.
to me
And then
earlier.
they suddenly
I
have
know,
the
I was
fastest
laughing at you
attackers
so
on the
hard.
planet. So, who knows, right? I think it could be a formidable pickup for him.
Alliances turn to ban.
Jug's got to go.
Interesting respect band of the Tinker coming out on the side of Alliance. Also something that definitely has the potential to stall out that heavy push strat with March.
The Jug mostly banned for his pushing powers
Yes.
behind the healing ward. Not necessarily so like the 1v1, because traditionally I think Troll Warlord is advantage versus Troll because you could actually pressure him so much in the actual fights. But healing ward will fit Alliance's strategy so much better here.
Yeah, that would seem almost like an old school combo when you used to see the Juggernaut before the carry days. The healing ward was used to buff like a lone druid.
Yeah.
To kind of protect that bear. And also like the Juggernaut, in addition to not being great necessarily at man fighting the troll later on, is if you are taking a very early timing into the game, the Omni Slash is a lot more like killing potential on the troll warlord, a lot more dangerous on him.
And so this is what is so interesting to me about pro drafts in general. TNC with this bounty hunter pick are going like way off
super
book.
YOLO. This is super
It
YOLO.
is.
Yeah.
It's like, this is like if you go purely by the book, this is like the time to not pick bounty hunter because against that heavy early push, he's useless. But with as well as they've played at points today with the vision advantage, you got to wonder: do they have a pocket strat in store?
It's either that or they have just heavy early game emphasis on just being a pain in the ass for the Chen, maybe.
Yep.
Bounty Stalker just
Get into that
Getting-
jungle
yeah,
and
getting in the
also
jungle and getting
potentially
behind his
disrupt
back.
Limp's early game in the
Let's
mid.
not forget now the Creequilibrium is closer to the offlane tower. A
Okay.
lot of Chen play will like to do the wrap around, your pincer right under your tower, and that's how you secure those early game kills. Bounty is like, no, you're not smoking there. We will see you coming.
Right.
Our offlane is going to be dodging that. But at the same time, again, once that push comes, what exactly is Bounty Hunter going to do?
That's
Like
that's
nothing.
the question.
Like nothing.
You
He
can
Bounty
watch
hunter
them
just-
push by tracking all of them.
track them and throw out that shuriken, man.
Well, this is there's different ways of dealing with the push, right? Some teams may have more of a defensive hold the high ground strategy. The other method is before they can successfully gather this death ball, you want to be able to pick off their heroes and get a big enough advantage because you expect to hopefully have that kind of advantage. If you have the bounty hunter for the mid lane, for instance, a huge help, can help the side lanes, relatively squishy heroes. Obviously, Dakota mentioned with the jungle harassment as well. But if you have vision on them, you can potentially pick them off and stop them before they gather that critical mass or momentum. And so that's something that they're going to have to play.
that
individually.
has to be it, right? You're all in on the bounty hunter just completely disrupting their early game momentum.
Well, then why would you not pick a Ricky then instead? It's clear that they picked the bounty hunter because they value the track at least somewhat. Like, they're hoping that they have a big surge of money happen for them in the mid game, or maybe they value the vision. There's got to be a reason. It could be just that he's more comfortable with that hero over a Ricky,
Yeah.
but it can't be
Tim's is
sole
quite good with
early
both, though,
game
so
harassment
it's-
because then you would get like a Ricky or something.
Bounty can get in, get out. Oh, there we go.
So
There
Legion
we go.
Commander, Troll Warlord, move speed is coming out of the ears.
And track movement speed. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
It all ties together now. But that overwhelming out against the Chen creeps. Oh man.
Yeah,
it's,
I'm glad you brought that up, Lumi, because LC is potentially very, very strong anti-push.
10 seconds remaining.
I was actually gonna suggest something like the Underlord Firestorm, but that's not a Sam H hero. Like this is more like it, an initiator that can get in there and start the fight. And can I get some hype for that dual macro pyre? Because that is gonna be one of the ways for TNC to take the fights.
And also, if we're expecting the kind of pick-off-oriented strategy for stopping the push in its tracks, you have obviously Legion Commander, the duel, and the synergy with the Troll Warlord as well. Versus if the Pit Lord, you don't really have that tempo or blink initiation coming out to be able to get pickoffs. More of a stand your ground type of team fight hero.
Well, it's interesting now,
mobility.
both teams kind of picking into traditional counters. Legion Commander in many situations viewed as a counter to Terrorblade, but again, it's all about tempo and who can establish that early game control. The Terrorblade, of course, is just so huge if you win your lanes in that push.
Terrorblade had been nerfed a little bit. Obviously, the illusions took a hit on damage to towers,
Yep.
and Terrorblade's metamorphosis is treated as an illusion as far as its damage on the tower. It was a notate on the patch note, so even his metamorph is going to be reduced just a slight bit of damage. And Timbersaw last pick.
TNC's turn to pick.
Interesting.
There's a lot of magic damage on this CNC draft. I'm not sure what to make read of this Timbersaw pick.
Yeah, I was just mulling that over in my head. The Timbersaw
10
pick,
seconds
it
remaining.
fits. Limp is a good mid-timber, but it feels like that pick is a little bit vulnerable here to being punished by TNC with their
I think this is
last
actually a great pick here. There's no silence or usual kind of lockdowns to deal with him. He's good against this kind of physical damage, but that doesn't really have that much burst. The lack of magical burst here from TNC, and then as a frontliner, if you need somebody to be at the front of your push, say you need to get to the back to either get to the wards or the Terrorblade illusions, you have to get through the Timbersaw first. It's going to be very difficult, especially if their timing is early and crisp enough. It's going to be very hard to fight into a Timbersaw. So I actually like this pick.
Okay, yeah, I you know what? I like that pick a lot more. I just noticed that Alliance had banned the OD. That was what I was really worried about.
Can you
All
do
right.
callback on Chen?
And they're gonna go
then
right back to
Timber
Leon.
chain onto
Okay.
a tree to
Man,
get the fountain regen?
one
Does anybody
Invoker
know
for
that?
Alacrity. Even more move or attack
Well,
speed,
Invoker, I think Invoker is not the hero of this patch, but I guess we'll see. All right, guys, quick predictions here. Alliance needs to win this game to stay alive in this series. Which way we think this is going?
I can't help but lean towards TNC actually on this one a bit. I don't know. Something about the Timber still rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like the Terrorblade is still going to be under heavy pressure. But, yeah, I think TNC will be able to withstand the early game aggression of Alliance and pull it out.
You said they needed to make the adjustments. I felt like Alliance have. They have this very strong pushing strategy. I hope they will execute it, and I really like this draft, so I'm going to go with Alliance again.
I like these drafts and games of kind of very polar opposite ideas going at it, and I like Alliance's draft this time, and I'm going to go for Alliance this game.
You know what? I'm going to make it through one again. I think Alliance have got the right heroes. If they get any kind of advantage early on, going to be very difficult for TNC to hold their ground. All right, guys, do or die here for Alliance for a spot in the semifinals on Sunday. Game 2, let's throw it over our casters. Here are Lyrical and Merlini.
Thank you, Alan. Ladies and gents, we're here. Game number 2, Alliance. They pulled it out in the late game. It felt like there were moments where they're going to be able to do it in game number 1, but TNC crushed their dreams. And you said they needed a tower hitter for Alliance. They got Terrorblade. It's pretty freaking good, isn't it?
And they have the Shadow Shaman awards too.
Yeah. It's an interesting little switch around, but you were sort of mouthing to me and talking about
Why
during
did they
the
not
draft.
ban Lena, dude?
You're so upset.
Lena is so good versus Terrorblade. It's the perfect anti-push. It has synergy with the LC. It has synergy with the Bounty Hunter even. It has synergy with the Troll. Like that's
EGM, they spot out
Yeah.
Tim's. They're waiting for it. They want to try and bait him into this. He's going to walk back up maybe, but they didn't end up going for him there.
That was a pretty good attempt for a bait there by EGM. He did already skip the. Do you know the voice line for it?
Which one's that?
Shackles.
No, the.
Yeah, that's pretty good. that was decent. That was better than I expected.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot as well. I was able to get it.
30
That's a very memorable voice line.
Oh, for sure. So we were talking about this a little bit during the draft. Well, the draft is going on about Tim's Bounty Hunter here, what he's going to be able to accomplish. You were talking about this as being a counter for Chen in a lot of ways. Want to extrapolate a little bit on how this early game is going to look there?
Yep. You place a ward, so you can kind of eliminate the ways that he can where he can be. He blocked the big camp over there. They know that he's not up here, and he can put pressure in this area in between the chicken and the. Oh, they're actually not pairing the Timbersaw in the lane that I thought they were going to. Timbersaw is actually going mid, but yeah, you just stalk the Chen the whole entire time.
Uh-oh. A bit of obs work going on right there. Don't worry, everybody. Just a little kill. We're even able to find it onto that poor little Jonas Sand King. So not the way that they wanted to start it off. But yeah, you were talking more about that Lena, how good of a hero it is at dealing with the Terrorblade later on. And also, I mean, Limp might end up struggling against it a good amount. OD would have been tough too.
But Lena is way better versus the push.
Right.
You have to keep in mind, like, the Chen. Chen is the corner piece of their lineup, and Alliance are quite famous for their Chen, although no longer under Aki's control.
Uh-oh. I mean, speaking of that, Chen coming in now, trying to find Sam H. Sam H does have a TP here, but
Tim's is close by. He should be fine. He can overwhelming odds and just run away.
body blocks.
But
they have the net. They can have a
yeah.
catch.
Fire, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Oh, look at him go. It's a brilliant sound. Sam H still being blocked in. This guy is so survivable, and they ended up popping the reflection as well, trying to slow him down. Poor man's shield is a pretty good item, turns out. And Legion Commander just able to walk away. Jonas in trouble as well up top. There's trouble going on all over the place here. They are gonna, I think, find that kill. Burning down the Tango regen, not enough to keep him alive, and a 2-0 start for TNC.
Holy cow. THD +1 is able to kill a Sand King twice already? That is crazy. And LC's doing the walk of shame. Might have been more efficient to kill yourself to neutrals at that point. But yeah, that is it's a lot of time wasted. Usually LC has a lot of trouble versus a hero like Shadow Shaman. You just, you know, shackle them, and that's about it. That's kind of how the lane should go, but they weren't able to catch up with him because Shadow Shaman is extremely slow, and they had to. He probably had to buy his fair share of items at the start to split with the Chen because of the Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter does a lot of economic damage, even when he don't actually kill anyone or stalk anyone or steal Chen's creeps. You force him to buy Dust and Sentry, which is always going to slow down the boots and just be miserable for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, look at this early little movement here, too. The Sand King getting a good amount out of the lane right there. As we do have Tim's rotating towards mid. Hanskin also going up towards the top as they want to maybe try and pipe some more pressure. They were able to find a catch now onto the Jakiro, slowed down. The stun comes out as well, and teach him to soak up his EXP.
Yeah, and that was a really nice play by Jonas Fan. He was struggling a lot, but one level Sandstorm, last 50 seconds, pretty good. Can just sit in lane, no problem. And Jakiro has Sentry Wards. So they probably don't need to worry about these shenanigans too much. But it does a lot of damage now at level 1. It did get a change in the scaling of it. And now Tim's looking for old Hanskin.
Yeah, he's going to go mess with them a little bit. Maybe could think about trying to deny out or take away the last hit, or possibly even go for the big juicy Centaur himself. As Cuckoo still dealing with limp here. But yeah, that's the other thing too, is like you mentioned the Sandstorm. If you have this Jakiro that's there and trying to, you know, get all the EXP he needs and levels that he needs, like Tim's is not going to be providing a ton either. So it's expensive to buy those Sentry Wards for Sandstorm.
Yeah, it really is. It's just, it's a cost. It's something that you never really want to buy. It's like, I don't really want to buy Sentry Zone to start. I want my boots, Windlays, upgrade Courier because you have to, and then you want to buy like Raindrops and Stick and stuff like that. You don't really want to expend money on Dust and Sentry, especially when it doesn't guarantee you a kill, doesn't guarantee you a D ward. And it is nice that things are getting cheaper nowadays for the supports, but it's still just, you know when those supports are like 600 net worth, like 10 minutes in, it's times like these.
Yeah, no, it hurts. And in this type of a game, it's probably going to be the case for the other supports not named Chen or Bounty Hunter. In the meantime, you mentioned upgrading the Couriers. 4.5 minutes in, they still haven't done it yet. I guess feeling comfortable with it, and as we said as well, trying to get those items that they need to deal with the laning phase. And speaking of laning phase, Troll taking some damage as well. They found Raven, get the stun with that little hurl boulder, but now Jonas in trouble as well. They managed to drop the sentry, find the kill. Tim's going to run down Hanskin. He's in a little bit of trouble as well. Is at least going to be forced back. And with the dual breath, they're actually thinking about diving this. Could switch over the aggro to boot. Tim's going to be able to walk away from this one.
Okay, that's the stacking of the slow is crazy. 28% moving speed slow, and then you get the whirling axis. So, and then you have the oov. Do you see how slow everyone was moving? I don't blame Jonas Fan for dying 3 times in this lane.
Yeah, this is tough, and he's just walking into it again. It's a hard lane, and not going to be getting a whole lot easier either. 201 movement speed was there, while Legion Commander, no movement speed, getting caught by the shackles, right clicks, not enough to find the kill. Same H still having a good time in this lane.
Yeah, really nice build coming out from him. The press the attack, very important. He got rid of the reflection right there, and of course starting out with a 4-man shield saved his life definitely at the start. Yeah. No bounty room for you to steal. You're going to try and pop that? Okay. And there goes your clarity.
Bang, bang. couple hits to the face as well. It's the price of a right click onto one of those mud golems. And terrible.
Price you pay for experience.
That's a good one. Sam H, does he actually have a way out of this? I mean,
They don't have enough damage. He doesn't have meta. They couldn't kill him with meta.
no.
So without meta, it should be
Dyer's
fairly
middle tower
easy
is
for him
under
to
attack.
survive. Mid lane is going pretty well for both heroes. Almost par on the course. 39 versus 36.
Regeneration.
Lina does have that level 7 now, so maxed out Dragon Slave and Laguna Blade. It's a lot of damage that can be spammed out onto that Terror Blade if he happens to drop too far, but seems like they're going to need at least another hero to make it work. So who do you feel like is maybe a little bit more happy out of this laning stage? It seems like the off lane is a struggle for Alliance right now.
He did get that stack though, so I don't think it's that bad.
Oh my god! What?
He still had that. He still had the.
Penance on him.
And
Wow.
he still had the golems.
Okay,
before.
the double shard, and they find another kill as well. Jonas with the big plays, and more importantly, Handskin, just a lot of nuke damage takes down that troll.
So usually the early game, depending on, it depends a lot on Shadow Shaman's levels. He's level 4.5 right now, which I would say is okay. You don't want him to be too far behind. Chen, I think it's a little bit okay to be behind because he has such a good supporting crew for him to push around. Like he's not the only hero that can push on his team, so they're not as reliant on him.
Oh, a little bit of help from the neutrals there.
Yeah, there's some big stacks everywhere.
I feel like this is something that Sand King could help to rotate in and find it. He's a lot of that burst damage, but likewise, just want to get whatever farm you can on the Terror Blade. I guess we're also not only going to be looking towards level 6s on these other off lanes, but those initiation items that could come out. Sam H going for phase, but maybe going to see a Blink Dagger. And
I don't know if you go for that.
oh, they found another one. Tim's in trouble. Just rotate in and find the kill. Oh, bottom lane though. This is the real problem, and that's what you're talking about. Lina against Terrorblade.
Yeah, she didn't even have to blow Laguna. Terrorblade's HP is just very poor. And he wasn't able to... Oh, I don't think he was able to spend his gold before he died either, so that's not particularly good for Loda. Yeah, I don't actually know if you go for initiation items because, like, the way the fights go, you actually just need to survive, I think, in the fights as LC. I do like the armlet build that we've been seeing a lot on the LC. Because if you get Blink, like, you have to deal with Chen Heal, you have to deal with, like, Timbersaw just crushing you. I think you need to be able to survive a little bit because you are going to be the frontliner for TNC. You can't rely on Bounty Hunter or anyone else, like, rolling in.
Uh-oh, another penance comes out. 1437 caught here. They do have Lina as well under the shackles. They have the follow-up stomp as well, and now the Chakram comes out. Cuckoo is gone. EGM gets out, or rather 1437 gets out.
See, they didn't fall into the trap of that other team, too. You don't go for the THD. You just ignore the THD.
Yeah.
And you kill everyone else.
Well, it's been a nice little rebound here for Alliance, making moves. Handskin Chen turns out it's pretty good. Alliance know how to run this hero, and now TNC trying to figure out an answer.
Yep, the early push starts now. They do not have the Lina here. Without the Lina, I do not think they have good chances of stopping the push. But she is going to TP in right now. Limp.
Needs to be careful. He can still tank this tower. This is one of the nice parts about Timbersaw. He needs to be careful about the magical damage that comes out. Overwhelming odds, as well as all the things that Lina brings to the table, can bring him down.
Oh, they did not even get the tower. And they are going to not get a tower off the first meta. That is quite bad for Alliance. They also don't have an Aquila on Loda. Very surprising considering how often they think they're going to group up.
Yeah.
Ring a tequila.
Bring it tequila. That's right.
Share the love.
A little bit of good flavor for him. Doesn't end up wanting to take it this time. So yeah, 10 minutes in, got ourselves the first initial tomes of knowledge coming out as well. Bounty Hunter wanting to get into that level 6. They can start finding kills all around the map, I would imagine. And I mean, that's one of the things, right, is that if they do start TNC to trade off these kills one for one across the board, like we saw a lot in that last game, you get so much more value out of that with the track. Now up on Tim's.
Definitely so. And duel.
Wow. Snowballing off of kills. Alliance gonna need to try and just, I guess, build straight into survivability there. You know, you can get into a pipe or something on the Timbersaw. It looks like he wants to go for the straight Bloodstone, though. But movement, waiting for Metamorphosis. Sam H is here now trying to get set up onto the Terror Blade. Jonas is in the area as well. I mean, dude, our TNC under pressure?
Tim's
Uh-oh.
gets dusted up and died.
We get there eventually, and there's just a big old group of creeps coming. They're trying to take down Loda now. They do have the duel, saving it until they start bringing him a little bit lower. Press the attack, duel down, damage coming out. Jonas trying to save a life, but it's not going to happen. Burrow Strike's going to come through, but they were not quick enough.
Oh my god, if Jonas and Fan were there earlier, he would have been able to get a Sunder off on a nearly full HP hero. That would have been a disaster. Woof. And the Chen heal came out too. That was so close to helping him survive. But that's pretty much the only defensive ability that they have for him is the Chen heal. I guess send back, but I don't necessarily think that counts. Because you want him to be able to get Sunder off.
And like while that's happening too, TNC, like they're pushing the bottom tier 2 tower. There's not really a great response from
the
Alliance.
THD effect again. What do you do about it? Look at him.
They don't want to look at
I
him. There he is.
I bet Theban's so pleased right now. He's just like,
I know.
that they can't do anything about me.
Smiling.
Yeah.
Found himself a great
He's so happy liquid firing this every single time. He's going to be even happier when he's level 7.
I just macro pyre the tower. Why not? We'll get rid of these creep waves. I want to hit it again and take it down. There is some rotations down there. Shadow Shaman in the area. Does end up catching now onto that Jakiro. They had to stand a macro pyre for a moment. That tower is so low, and it is going to be denied here in just a second as well.
Worth.
Always.
They nerfed the tower gold, so denies don't hurt as much anymore.
All right.
Oh, those creeps. Not in good shape.
Wow, this is scary. I mean, they have track onto 2. A little bit of bonus movement speed is there as well. They see Jonas wrapping back around, so TNC very aware of what's coming their way.
It's very worrisome that Alliance have not been able to take down a tower yet. Shadow Shaman is level 7, so they can easily force a tower out the back of Mass Serpent Ward. But I don't know if they want to do that. It's going to cost them a lot of time and probably some towers of their own. This troll is exceptionally good at taking out towers.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, you mentioned it, Jakiro just going to head back mid again, keep liquid firing. Like, we haven't seen much punish. This is the first instance of it, and, well, they actually aren't even going to be able to do it. EGM brought down incredibly low. If the Shurikens start bouncing around, notice one more right-click from Raven, in fact. And now they've caught out the Timbersaw. He is gone as well. You drop the wards, you don't defend your tower, everybody's gone. Alliance, what's going on here?
It's the THD effect, man. You have to do something about it, but he's extremely difficult to kill and does a lot of damage. He's kind of like Venno, I would say, in that matter. Oh,
Tim's with the body blocks, the duel. All the creeps are gone as well.
That's bad. I don't think they're going to be able to group up. They wasted the first Serpent Wards. And that's going to be a lot of time for them to recoup the creeps. Yeah, the Holy Persuasion is only 10 seconds long, but you lost a lot of map control. You have to always worry about this bounty hunter being on top of you.
And TNC, they have looked quite good today, building up a 5,000 net worth lead here.
Oh God, Cuckoo is way more farmed than Timbersaw. They used to be pretty much neck and neck, and now he's 1,500 gold with a Yule's already completed on him. That's extremely bad.
Yeah, I mean, being able to catch him in his mid-timber chain potentially as well, cutting off all avenues for escape. We saw how quickly he just evaporated to all of that magical damage.
There's also other things too. You can combo the Terror Blade, which is really bad. You can dispel the send back from Chen, which is also extremely bad.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
They drop a ward. Tim's already scouted all this out, though, and now they're moving in. Limp is in a little bit of no man's land. They end up finding the duel there onto the Chen. No more heals are going to be coming out throughout the course of this, and Jonas finds a good ulti, but Sam H is not going to end up falling to this one. Can they actually burst down anybody else from Alliance, though? It looks like the fight is going to stall for a moment. 1437, spamming out the liquid fire, still taking damage. Burrow Strike's there as well. They have the light strike array a little bit off the mark. They end up throwing out the Laguna Blade. Just blow up Limp. Where was that hero? EGM gone as well. Cuckoo is chasing, wants to find and get the kill onto Loda. Burrow to end up getting a counter initiation play. That might just be the death of Hanskin nonetheless as Sam H runs down Loda. Nowhere to hide here as he's tracked up and brought down. Double for Raven. 5 die in that extended team fight. A hell of a lot of track kills.
with the way they're playing around the THD, it seems like they've been playing around the THD or with the THD or with Theban for a very long time. Like it's incredible to watch like how well they actually play around the THD. A lot of times like THD will push tower and then just die constantly, but they're very good about utilizing his position to win them team fights. Like he just went in for a liquid fire on Timbersaw, and that pulled them into the point where they didn't get stunned by the Lina, but the supports had to move forward to try and follow their cores, and they just all got obliterated as a result. And that was, yeah, so many track kills, 10,000 gold, 16 minutes in. This is getting worse and worse, and 2 towers down at least for Alliance, so that's not that bad, but you want to be doing better. A lot better with the lineup that you have. You have a lot of early game heroes, and your lineup is still dreadfully poor.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that this was like a, oh God, no. Limp, caught again. Look at how quickly he drops. And that's perfectly emblematic. This hero, he wants to be the one that's like tanking up, building up the stacks of reactive and getting ready to kill off a tower as the damage is coming from the Chen. But by a large range, it's just like they burst him before he's even able to get into that position.
They have a Blink Dagger on Sand King, so maybe they can do something with that. But right now, Alliance, they cannot split up. They'll get picked off with Lina, they'll get picked off with Duel, they get picked off with Bounty Hunter, and these are non-trivial kills. You cannot just keep giving LC free damage. You cannot keep giving away free track kills, and Loda looks like he might be able to get Sunder off at this point.
Oh my
Or
God,
not.
just bashed to death. Oh man, that one hurts. They've gone on to 1437, commit the wards for the position 5 hero who is going to be brought down.
That is totally not worth.
Oh man, and if they end up, I don't know if they want to take a fight right here, but maybe they find a pick off if somebody spreads out too much. Good decision by Alliance to back out as a team.
But if they look at the gold graph, gold right now, TNC got 280 for killing Loda, and Alliance got 290 for killing the THD.
Tim's, he's going to get gone on here.
Oh,
there are a lot of heroes in the area.
Damn, that pressed the attack.
Yeah, immediately, and then he can just walk away. No dust. And they knew that was coming too. They smoked underneath the ward. TNC just in immaculate positioning. It feels like they always have the answer right now for Alliance.
They just have much better teamwork. Like, everyone's there to back up each other, whereas
Money to burn.
Alliance, like, Loda gets cut on bottom, no support. I mean, the Chen is doing his job and pressing his heal button, but you ideally want people there to be backed up with like an epicenter to follow up, or, you know, that one time that Sand King was a little bit late to the stun on top. Like, the teamwork from TNC is just far, far better at this point.
Yeah. Well, there's the stun. They find the kill. EGM dropping like a rock, and now maybe going to look for a bit more as well. On the back of it, there's one stun coming out from Jonas. He's sandstorming, but oh, maybe they can find this kill, though. They're bringing down low. That Legion able to walk away. The stun, the macro pyre is too much damage from Cuckoo. Can Limp and Jonas get out? Loda is also being ran down here. They have another stun from the Sand King, but he has no interest. This ended up backing out. A triple kill for Cuckoo. This man has been having a hell of a tournament so far and looking for more as well. He only has half mana pool, but he's going to be able to find that stun, finding the damage, and finding the kill. My goodness gracious me, oh my. Ultra for Cuckoo.
That's very demoralizing. And it begs the question, why did they not ban the Lina? It's just so good versus the lineup, and Cuckoo plays it incredibly well. One thing I like most about Cuckoo is that he varies up his item builds. He doesn't, like, I remember when the Chinese teams always used to go like, okay, Arcane into Bloodstone into Shadowblade every single game. He changes it up a lot. Sometimes he goes for Tread, sometimes he goes for Phase Boost. He has Arcane into Yules this game. Like, his item builds has just been spot on, and the Blink Dagger just allows him to keep going for that +1/+1/+1, and no one can split push because of his item build. And that's kind of the only way that they can win right now. They're not strong in a team fight. They can't push up. They'll just get slaughtered and feed tons of track kills, so their only option is split push and try and equalize the farm at some point. But now the map is just getting crushed more and more. And well, like, look at the net worth disparity. Look at how big the Troll and the Lina's bars are compared to the cores on the side of Alliance. It's ridiculous. They're almost doubling up net worth on 2 heroes.
Yeah. And it's not like the other supports or everything. This isn't like a Naga Siren game. They all have the items that they need to make their job work as well. Cuckoo, they find another. The duel is there. And Handskin is down. The time when he was moving around and finding kills has long passed, and TNC have taken complete and total command of this game.
No one's been giving respect to the THD, though. I actually think THD, at least with the way they're playing it, is very, very good. and they're able to snowball incredibly well because of it. I can't really think of that many other supports that can push towers as effectively as the THC. I've seen some other options, like Alliance clearly running the Shadow Shaman as maybe a substitute for that. I've seen like Pugna sometimes, and Leshrac support sometimes, but I think THC offers a lot more in the team fight, and apparently it's just a god in lane that we're able to kill Sand King so many times, so.
I mean, that's the thing, too, is it's a hero that's been quietly getting buffs patch after patch after patch. It's dual breadth, a little bit wider AoE now as well in the most recent one, and getting the slow increase, the damage increase.
With the way they're playing them, though, they could easily have played them in the last patch. It's just like the way they're playing around it.
Yeah.
I don't think the hero itself is super important. It's just like they know how to bait them out. They know how the enemy's going to react around this hero, and they play to their strengths. Like either they full commit and have 4 heroes save them, or they just leave them alone and just let them die alone. Or at least sometimes they do that, most of the time.
They're thinking about this. My God, that damage coming in. EGM barely saving the duel that came out from Handskin. They might still decide to go for it. Yeah, Troll is there. Raven running down EGM. They're killing off the 2 supports. Simultaneous deaths.
No dual
Feels
damage.
bad. I mean, a small glimmer of hope there. This is a rough game for Alliance. 22 minutes in, it's 9-23 for goodness sake.
I think they can just push high ground right now. There's really no stopping them.
Radiant's middle tower
Unless they get a big epicenter. That's the only thing that saves him right now. A huge epicenter. He is level 12 on saying, okay, he got tracked. Okay, GG.
Yeah, that's rough. Well, the Yule Scepter lift up. There's going to be an Ice Path. There's going to be a Laguna Blade. And there's no longer going to be a Sand King. Limp is going to try and push out this wave to the best of his ability and is doing some bit to Raven, but at the same time, he is going to stick around with Cuckoo hitting the tower for the moment. Barracks on the menu, and TNC, cool, calm, and collected. They actually determined to go back in on this. They're actually going to take this fight. They're looking for the duel, have been able to find it on the EGM. TNC just dominating over and over again here. Loda with the reflection. They want to try and take this fight on their terms. I don't know if TNC are going to give him the option. Oh, man. Well, missed chains might have ended up coming out to cost him, even if he did end up hitting it. My goodness.
No one would blame them if they called it right now.
Yeah.
They are just so far in the hole that there is realistically almost no chance for them to come back. Especially after Sand King got tracked right there. I think you have to blow a smoke right there if you're Sand King. Like, that's the only upside for their massive amount of damage, is like epicenter on like 2 or 3 heroes. And yeah, they have the Aegis on Troll Warlord, but you can kill those supports and you can kill him twice. They don't have BKB on the Troll. You can easily lock him down with Shackles immediately after if you kill the teammates, but they can't kill his teammates unless they have a big epicenter, and him getting tracked is just kind of the end of that fight.
And it's not like it gets any easier either. Like the Shadow Blade build on Troll means that, you know, him and the Bounty Hunter are always going to be able to find anybody that does want to split push. Granted, you have seen all of the Tier 1 towers taken down for Alliance, but now also they have the BKB as an answer for the Troll Lord. They have to burst him within duration of the stun with the epicenter there, and it just does not seem like that's likely with the Aegis still there online, and Raven's starting to burn this down.
This game, they have 3 tower hitters, too. They have Troll, Lina, and the Jakiro. So they have no lack of that. And I think that's partially why they've had so much success today.
Well, there's the jump forward. Blade Mail duel and soon-to-be dead Loda. They get a good epicenter up, but they can't quite manage to find the Sunder. And, well, they end up walking away with the Legion. She is finally going to be brought down. The first death in what feels like forever for Alliance. TNC continuing to dominate this,
are fortified.
though they do end up losing that Legion. Pretty rough.
Loda had a buyback, too. Damage is done.
Aegis just now wearing off. TNC playing it very, very close to the chest. More net worth per the 1,000 than minutes in the game. Rough life.
I think if you had to make a definition for a stomp, that would be it. More than 1K net worth advantage per minute. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it feels very, very hopeless for Alliance. And let's see, potential venues for them to get back in the game. Roshan doesn't spawn for at minimum 2 more minutes,
Visibility.
so they can hold on that for a while. And think TNC can just at least get the outer T2, take the shrines out, and then the gold lead is going to be, what, like 30,000 at that point?
Yeah.
And with the BKBs, if they pop it before the epicenter, it is just, there's just very little chance.
Good blink away there. That was close to another dead Sand King. And God, the Bounty Hunter has more net worth than anybody on Alliance's team right now. It's just what we were talking about. Like, it started off trading kills, and then all of a sudden it came to this point where Cuckoo started going off, finding kills with track and dual damage abound.
It's just they always have to bring a lot of heroes to kill. Like, remember when they killed the CHD in mid and they had to drop the wards on him and like use the blink dagger on the Sand King? Like, that's mostly your threat right there. Once that happens, TNC aren't just gonna wait for 2 minutes and wait for you to cool down on the Shadow Shaman Mass Serpent wards.
Yeah. Well, it is only two lanes of barracks-ish, right around
Wow,
there.
you make it sound so positive.
You got to do something, man. Got to find something to look at. And
Something to look at positively from this is that this lineup didn't work out for them, so they probably shouldn't go for this sort of thing again. They have to. I don't think they responded very well to a TNC's picks, because they started off with the Shadow Shaman and the Chen. No, was it Shadow Shaman and Chen?
it was Shadow Shaman Chen.
Shadow Shaman Chen. That just screams push.
Right.
Was it Shadow Shaman Chen? I'm not exactly sure of the order.
Well, while you're talking about that, we might see 1437 get brought down. Cuckoo is waiting, though. The 4-step to keep him alive. Raven goes in. They stun onto one, do a hell of a lot of damage onto the other. EGM gain a lot of heals in, but Raven's already popped the BKB. They turn to fight. They get the duel. That is Loda caught, but they managed to actually win that one. Loda finds the help with the Serpent Wards, but Epicenter catches nobody. Oh no, this is looking quite rough now, and Raven is down there in the bottom lane. They end up forcing Loda back. That means that they're going to lose Jonas. Another track kill going the way of Cuckoo, who has just been a madman in this one, and Limp trying to get up to the high ground. Loda being chased down by Raven, and meanwhile in towards the mid lane, you have Limp and Hanskin just running away. If they could kill off Raven here, this would be huge. They're trying to run him down. Do they have the damage? It's not quite there. The added movement speed from the track means that they're able to walk away. TNC still surviving through this one. And Limp is trying to chase. Cuckoo doesn't care. He's just going to walk away.
Cuckoo had Arcane ruin that entire fight, most of the fight.
Man. And he ended up going back for the Blink Dagger as well on the Lina.
Yeah, he had that really early. He had that like 10 minutes ago, I would say. But yeah, their opener was Shadow Shaman Chen. That just screams push.
Yeah.
Especially to such an experienced captain as Theben, and players like all of TNC have been playing a really long time. That's no surprise as to what they're going to do with the Shadow Shaman Chen. And then they didn't really divert from their strategy. I think like if you wanted to mask it a little bit more, you could do like Chen Sand King probably. It's like not that telling. You can throw Sand King and support if you really want to. There's some flexibility in the draft, but with the Shadow Shaman and the Chen, you know exactly what's happening for their supports.
Well, they found the duel. They found the Timber. They are going to actually not quite kill him off. He got a lot of armor in there at the end, and Raven ended up getting sundered, but Tim's is still chasing him down. Loda in a bad way. 29 seconds away from Metamorphosis is going to be brought down. Limp did manage to find his escape, but Hanskin will not be so lucky. 3 dead for Alliance as TNC just continue the beatdown.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a perfect record from TNC today.
Yeah.
And they will advance directly.
Oh, Troll taking some damage. But Jonas, this is just, it's just bullying at this point. They run down another. That's going to be a kill onto Limp. Raven's still alive. Everybody dead. TNC sparing no expense as they beat down Alliance in this opening day. Another little jump out here. Alliance staying with it to the best of their ability. They want to try and make it a good show, make it a good fight, stay in towards the end. And I mean, they can't do anything. Like the ulti and EGM, they're doing all of their abilities onto this bounty hunter. They just can't bring him down yet. He does finally fall there, but their base.
Their base.
Another chase down. Sam H running. They have the ice path to ensure the retreat. Limp wants to go. There aren't any trees there anymore, and It is a 35,000 net worth lead at 30 minutes. Laguna Blade brought down low. Chen Heal saving the day. Asunder as well. Keeps Loda alive. Feels like a hope and a wish at this point for Alliance to get anything else done in this game.
Yeah, it's not really looking that good. I don't have much more to add.
I know, I don't either. It's like, I don't know. I guess you can sort of hope that they just run into your fountain and end up all dying together collectively. But barring that, it doesn't really feel like there's anything left at this point for Alliance. They found all the answers. They went through the early game. They ended up, taking their lumps early on.
I think we should think about the positives for TNC. Firstly,
Yeah.
multiple tower hitters. Troll Warlord drafted very often. THD first picked every single game for them, and they always have a lot of AoE. AoE, really important if you need to farm neutrals, farming ancients, farming stacks, stealing opponent stacks, clearing out creep waves. There are more creeps on the map now, not only neutrals, but also lane creeps.
Yeah. Well, and now they go in for the kill and showing that not only do they have the tower hitters, but also the team fight winners as they bring down two. Going to bring down a third. Epicenter comes out. The Yule Scepter lift him up, but that's going to be another dead limp, and GG well played ends up getting called. And TNC, like you said, so many positives to list, not just in this draft, but throughout the day. 4-0 finish. They top their group.
Yep, and advancing directly to the playoffs is super important. Theban and the rest of TNC are happy. It seems like they finally found their missing puzzle piece to aid their struggling woes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so cool again. This has been the story of TNC. Like, people talk about TI6 as like the breakout time, but they were incredibly strong team leading up to TI6, and then it was a North American player coming in and then pulling all the pieces together that ended up taking them over the top. And wondering if, 1437 will continue the streak here as well. Certainly making a good showing of it day one.
You also have to remember that this is only their first day of 7.06 in an official capacity, so I still think they have a lot of room to grow. Not that they didn't perform well today, but there's always room to grow, and if that's the worst that we see them, that's going to be a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, totally. I'm excited. I can't wait for it. Certainly a lot of great teams in this tournament. But I think that for now, we're probably going to throw it back over to the panel, see what else they have to say. Alan, they did it, 2-0.
And we are back one more time. Day one of the Starladder I-League Invitational from Shanghai is in the books, and it's the Filipinos, TNC, who are perfect. 4-0 after one day of play. 4 first phase Jakiros in their first official matches with their new captain, 1437. Unbelievable performance. Let's hear one more time from our panel here. Guys, what can you say about this TNC squad? Reminds you a lot of that early group phase in Kiev. Super impressive.
Yeah, they're relentless. They saw like we did and like you guys all did for Alliance. They had strong early game potential, but they didn't seem to care about that at all. I mean, I don't know what it is. I saw at the beginning. I mean, maybe Alliance were kind of going too heavy into some early push meta, and they didn't get the meta early on with their Terrorblade, which I'm always a bit suspect about, but what did you guys think?
I think that strategy was really predicated on the fact of winning their lanes, which they did in game 1 of the series, but they were unable to do it there. That long chase on the safe lane wasn't able to happen there. The Chen, for me, he walked around and got maybe 1 or 2 pick throughout the early game, and I don't think that's really enough. And we saw what Rasa and Chen provided when you were behind in the late game, which is nothing. Like Chen in the base trying to defend with what? Hurricane creeps. And then, of course, Rasa could just put wards down. They were just not teamfight heroes. They weren't base defend hero. The whole lineup was predicated on winning the lanes, which they did not do, and they just fell apart.
I think after the IG series, I kind of had this thought of, show me more. I want to see how this series goes. But now that with the Alliance Series under the belt, we've seen TNC play a number of different strategies against a number of different strategies as well. They can play when they're behind and they have to be able to hold on for a little bit, get their items online. They can play when they're ahead. They can play when they have to hit a very specific counter to a strategy, a heavy push like this. As I said, with that Bounty Hunter you mentioned, it seemed a bit risky at times, but they were able to do that. That last pick, Lina, I think was brilliant, especially into Timbersaw. They were lacking that bit of magical burst, great synergy with their lineup, allowed them to pick heroes off and just stop any push from gathering momentum. So we've seen them play, the Jakiro first pick has been a common staple, but they've played a number of different strategies and against a number of different looks. And I'm really convinced that this team is hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, I think that's a extremely legit point. We are waiting for a live interview on stage. We're going to cut over there as soon as that begins, so we may have to cut in here. But I think it's a very important point that while the Theban coming in and the Jakiro first phase has defined the day for them, Cuckoo has also won a couple of laning matchups just super hard today, creating a big advantage in these very early game tempo lineups.
I think one of the big similarity between all of these TNC drafts, not just about the Jakiro, is that they always put Cuckoo on a huge burst damage dealer.
Yeah.
It was Lina twice, I believe, one of TA game, I believe OD in the first game against Dragon Knight. So every time you have a team fight, either you're down a hero, or in the OD's case, your entire team is like half HP. And I think that makes it so easy for the rest of your team to actually corral and go for those chasing kills. For example, this game, it made Bounty Hunter's job so easy. Throw a couple of tracks, and once you get that 5v4 advantage to start things off, you chase and you get the wins. We keep saying that Bounty is not a good matchup against the push, but the push never started. And Bounty was able, he was what, second highest, third highest net worth at certain points? It was crazy.
Yeah, that's a rare sight. When you're 2,000 ahead of the other team's cores 20 minutes
with
into
the Bounty.
the game, that's when things have gone wrong for them. And yeah, they played that very well. They used it perfectly in terms of the vision, in terms of the harassment in lane. Bounty is not a good hero against very strong type of dual lanes that just have that presence, because he doesn't offer that much if he's under-leveled. He doesn't offer much burst damage. He can feel kind of useless at times. But in this case, a lot of small skirmishes where he's able to go in and harass them, chase someone down. You felt the effect of him during the laning phase, and later on, you just get more and more from each track kill. From the vision, the deep wards that TNC were able to place consistently on Alliance's half of the map, they were just never able to get the ball rolling.
I just want to give a special shout out to Theban, of course. What you guys may not see is that this is a pretty intimate setup over here. The players are right there. Like, I can usually just throw a piece of paper and hit them, and we're hearing all the shot calling happening. And Theban is a huge voice on this team, and the team is responding ridiculously fast. When he says, guys, pull out, this is not our fight, they instantly pull back. And when he says it's time to re-engage, they do it right away. So for a team that just adopted him for like 2 scrims and then this tournament, they're quick to be right behind him, and that's a good showing of a strong team.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see, and not just in Theban, but the reactions from the other players as well. I mean, nobody told them that this was just the first day of our first LAN here, building up to the TI qualifiers. And it is. We talked about at the beginning of the day how much was at stake from some of these teams coming in. TNC, because Clutch Gamers has been the SEA team qualifying for a bunch of these LANs, TNC doesn't get many chances here to impress, but they're through to the semifinals on Sunday, and they have a real chance to make a case to get into that direct invite discussion. All right, guys. Well, while we're waiting again for our post-game interview here on stage, that should be coming up in a few minutes, let's look ahead to tomorrow's games, because we have our other group in action. Again, 3 best-of-3 series, starting with Liquid and Faceless at the beginning of the day. Liquid looking very, very good in Dream League play here recently, as Kuro became the first pro player ever to 900 career wins. Then we're going to look at Newbie and Vega Squadron later in the day. Newbie, a team a lot of people had high expectations from at both majors this year, hasn't necessarily delivered. And Vega looking a little bit resurgent as Afterlife has stepped in for Mag in that offlane role. Guys, what are you looking forward to in those series tomorrow?
I'm interested to see what Faceless can do up against Liquid. Everyone's going to look at that matchup, and as always, they'll just assume they're going to run right through Liquid, but we can't forget Liquid are the team that took down TNC, I believe, at Kiev in the first round. They're a team that had many upsets even back at Dota Pit. Faceless, yeah. And they're a team you just can't really sleep on. I mean, I love Black. I love Ice Ice Ice. Maybe 7.06 is a special something with Faceless, and we'll just have to see.
I mean, there are not too many players in Dota that I fear more in a new patch than Ice Ice Ice.
It's true, yeah. I don't know. He might pull out some crazy stuff and recognize that the 7.06 is a good Broodmother patch. And then all of a sudden we're all just like, what the hell's happening?
Don't remind me about that
hero.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's creative kind of a guy.
What do you think,
We
guys?
have mentioned that the off lane maybe is a bit harder to play in this patch, so we'll see how that affects Ice 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 and their
Exactly,
execution.
yeah.
For Liquid, I thought they had a pretty unique take. I think both the teams finished top 8 after winning one series and dropping another, but they had a pretty unique take in Dream League as well on the last patch. In terms of, mentioned earlier, like the vision heroes that they were using. Sometimes a combination of them, you had your Visage and the Nature's Prophet and the Lycan, being able to just pick out these fights, a lot of mobility. So some pretty pinpoint execution from them. We'll see if they continue with that philosophy on this patch as well. So interesting series there.
I'm watching for Faceless. They have a lot of negative stigma on them from the webs, saying that they're the team that
Okay,
is.
we are. I hate to cut
Okay,
in, but I
let's
do want to
go.
cut over to 1437 here.
和队友一起取得比赛胜利的1437。那么首先恭喜 TNC 战队取得2战全胜的成绩，已经是率先杀入到第2阶段的比赛了。所以网友们都评论 TNC 是在新版本感觉掌握版本的这种打法最快的一支队伍。那么我想问，究竟是什么秘诀让你们能够获得这样2场非常漂亮的胜利？
First, congratulations for the wins. You guys are now in the winner final. Everyone is talking online right now. The TNC really adapt to the meta, like the fast one, and you guys are really strong right now. So what do you think?
Well, thank you. Adapting to the meta is kind of funny because yesterday was the first time we ever played together, and we played like 2 games. So today we just came, and the guys just trusted me to pick some heroes. So I just thought I picked what I thought was good.
其实就是这个是一个特别有意思的事情，因为昨天我们才是第1次集训，然后我们就打了2场训练赛，然后今天也是特别感谢我的队友相信我的这个实力，然后让我去选择了我喜欢的阵容，然后我们拿到这个成绩，当然我也是非常开心的。
好的，我们知道这个1437现在加入 TNC 是一支东南亚的队伍，那对他来说其实也是离开了旧有的这样的一个生活习惯和环境。我想问一下他为什么会做出这样的选择？然后加入了这支队伍之后，觉得队友怎么样？有没有什么有趣的故事跟我们来分享一下？
All right, now so we all know TNC is a stand for Southeast Asia, and you used to play in NA or Europe. So what happened? Like, why do you make this decision? And what is the opinion on your new team and new teammates?
I had quite a few offers after KM Major, but TNC seemed like the most appealing one because I played in all the regions, NA, EU, and China. So I really wanted to try something new and different and play in Southeast Asia. As for my teammates, I think they're all really amazing players, and they're very funny and really fun to be around. It's really nice to play in a team where people just play the game and trust each other.
就是基辅 Major 之后，我收到了很多邀请，但是在我看来 ，TNC 的邀请是最诚恳的一份。那么因为我之前也是在世界各地都打过比赛，包括之前在老干的硬体也打过，那我就是想要去尝试一些新的东西，所以就选择了 TNC Pro。然后我觉得我的队友的话都是非常可爱的一些人，然后他们平时也是非常搞笑，然后气氛也非常好，所以我觉得能跟他们一起认真打游戏的人一起打比赛的话，我觉得是非常开心的。
好的，最后一个问题。那么我们知道1437不管在哪支队伍，他对待他职业选手这份工作都是非常认真的。那么 TNC 邀请他加入，也是希望能让整个队伍的实力再上一个台阶。那我想问1437在这方面有没有什么已经有把握的这样的一个计划，让他们成为一支顶尖的强队？
Apparently, TNC want to become a better team, and that's why they invite you, and you guys are already in the winner final. So for the future, is there any plan for your team? Is there any goal you set for the team?
Well, we're just taking it one game at a time. I don't think there's any need to get ahead of ourselves. Just chill, play Dota, try to learn, and just take it one step at a time.
我觉得我们还是脚踏实地的吧，然后就是一边学习一边打，然后慢慢的享受Dota这个游戏，然后慢慢的进步和成长。
好的，那 TNC 今天因为是拿到了小组第1，所以接下来还没有2天休息的时间，也希望在这段时间里面 ，TNC 可以好好的休息调整。那么在最后一天的淘汰赛里，赛出他们的好成绩。好，接下来把时间交给我们的评论席。
Wow, well, sorry, Theeman, there are 2 new regions now, so you've got to go play in CIS and South America now to get all 6. But that's a guy who's been around and, of course, was the coach for Team Secret a couple years ago when they were the #1 ranked team in the world. This guy has been all over Dota and has left his fingerprints on a bunch of really good teams.
Maybe only like Demon might be the other person who might have been around as many regions and slightly more. It's an impressive feat to be able to just be that good at Dota, you can go anywhere and make a team happen, you know?
Absolutely. Well, guys, I want to get your closing thoughts here on day 1 because I don't think any of us would necessarily have expected TNC to come in and flat out dominate, but we're going to have another great day tomorrow.
I mean, I'm excited about 7.06. We saw games that were shut down in 22 minutes, and then we had one game that was near 70 minutes. So you can see a little bit of everything, and it's exciting.
I'm just super impressed with TNC. They get the advantage of not playing to the very final day. They have time to rest up, maybe scrim a little bit more, and watch how the other teams play. And they've earned it. You know, fast 4 games. Well, one of them was long, but 3 fast wins and 1 long win. They deserve it, and I hope they will get the nice rest and practice well.
I think the dream for anyone who watches and loves Dota is to see a variety of not just picks, but play styles and different philosophies in the game and the execution that goes into those. And I think today was a great day for that. Like, first day of the new patch, you saw so many different strategies run by these teams, even by themselves, like just tinkering with different things. I hope that continues going forward as the tournament progresses.
All right. Well, thank you so much for my panelists. Great job today, guys. A little bit of a long one, but I think we had a lot of fun. We will be back again tomorrow. One day is in the books. We've got 3 more days of great Dota to bring to you. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning us in from Shanghai. We will see you tomorrow morning with more Star Ladder iLeague